everybody, it's Janet Metzger, and I am here today with Serena Chow, and she's got some great info. You know, Serena and I met through a networking group, and it was such a powerful conversation. I know you wanted to meet her. You know, as a member of the Network Marketers Den, what we're here to do is serve you, the network marketer. And Serena is a very successful network marketer. She grew up in Portland, Oregon, and she's the oldest of 4 girls. Her dad was a business owner, and her mom taught at a local junior college. She earned her BA degree from Oregon State. What is their name? I know it. I can see them. They're orange and black. I know that. But what's the name of Oregon State?
Yes, you're good. Orange and black, dear.
Okay, I knew that.
You got it.
She was recruited out of college to work for a big company, for IBM in San Francisco, and she still lives in the Bay Area today. She met her husband, John, while working in corporate, and she left IBM after 9 years to raise their 2 children, Stephanie and David. She ran a business from home, selling a great company, Usborne Books. She did it for 16 years. And while she was selling it, she was homeschooling both of the kids. In 2010, after that first recession, she closed that business down and she opened up her business with Melaleuca, the wellness company. She's done that for 12 years and she's not stopping. So what did I miss? What did I miss, Serena? And welcome. So glad you're here with us.
Thank you so much. I don't think you missed anything. Thanks so much for that great introduction. I appreciate
that. It's really a great story. You know, it's network marketing has a bad rap sometimes about the high turnover, but I will tell you, 28 years in the business, you've probably been there, done that, seen just about everything. And I think you have a wealth of experience, but to me, it says a lot about your dedication with the 2 companies that you've been with, and that, I know you have a I don't give up attitude. So good for you. Good for you.
Thank you so much.
So what prompted you to get into direct sales?
Well, my mom was home I remember growing up, my mom was home with all of us. And so I was really looking for a way to be home with the kids.
Okay.
And I knew that, when I was working in corporate, and it took me a couple of years to find Usborne, but when I did, it just everything clicked.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it was a matter of staying home with the kids. Yeah.
Yes. Flexibility, some extra income, because I, just left a corporate job.
Yeah, with a really nice. Good big company. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
You.
And now, of course, the kids are all grown up and everything, but yet you're still in direct sales. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, what do you love about direct sales? I mean, why have you stuck with it this long?
Love the flexibility of it and being able to work my own hours. Humorously, my husband doesn't think I could take marching orders in corporate, but I could. But once you get a taste of just that independence and flexibility with your schedule, and there's an adage, right? You can make a living 8 to 5, but you can make a fortune working nights and weekends, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I really love that piece, and there's no ceiling on income. You can get paid what you're worth. Not with someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah. You said what some people think is a 4-letter word, but you said you work it. You really work the business.
Yes.
Do you have any sort of a schedule or anything like that? How do you ensure that you get done what needs to be done?
That's a great question. I actually, Monday through Wednesday, there are a couple of big time blocks that I just make calls.
Okay.
So when I schedule my appointments, those are like rocks in my schedule, right? So I don't put anything in there. That's my time to outcall. So I make sure I have that in there. And then I have
that is so refreshing, because there's a lot of great things that you said, but the thing that I guess puts a smile on my face is that you're actually making phone calls and talking to people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. And the part about the time blocking, I think, is so important. And it's a rock. You said you can't move it. That's right. Really, really important. So by having that consistency. Okay, good. So many great things, 28 years, but if you had to say something that frustrates you, bugs you about direct sales and network marketing over all these years, what would that be?
I think I was reflecting on that. And I think when activities don't match the goals.
Okay. Tell us what you mean by that. I like that. I love that thought.
So someone has really big goals, but the activity and the time that they're putting into it doesn't really match. It's not commensurate with how they're going to achieve those goals, right? I mean, if you want to make six figures, it's not going to be by just working in a certain amount of time. It's not going to come from 5 hours a week.
Okay.
So you've got to, and we have a pretty good handle with 36 years of statistics on what kind of activity needs to happen. And it's just calling.
Right.
Belly to belly. Right. That's how I was trained. And that's how I think people with social media and all the electronic modes these days, I think receiving a live phone call or a handwritten note in the mail is huge. I appreciate those things.
Right. It really separates you from everybody else. So am I hearing you say, I mean, I know you practice this. Do you run into team members or potential team members that just don't want to put the activity in to get what they really want? I mean, do you run into that with team members?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That good old, And it's like a chess game, right? You move, I move. And
right. I step, you step. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I love them where they're at. And from all of my corporate sales background, I, have a really thick skin. So I try not to take it personally. Because a lot of time it's timing for people. Sure. Things might happen.
When you talk about others not putting in the work, what would you say to somebody that is not achieving their goals? How would you go about helping them to make sure that they know that they're doing the right stuff, but maybe not enough of it? Is that a fair way of putting it?
Mm-hmm. That's a tough one. That's probably one of the biggest challenges for me, is because I'm a pretty direct person, and trying to determine a way that would not be offensive and put them on the defensive, but allow them to, kind of think about what it is. And I think I would ask them have their goals changed? That's the first question I would ask.
Oh, good question.
Are there some things going on that, is impeding on the time that they thought that they were going to be able to dedicate?
Right.
And if the answer is yes, I'm okay with that.
Right.
I just kind of want to dig and find out if there's an impediment on their side that's impeding. It could be a family member that's really getting on their case and doesn't believe in what they're doing, a lot of things. So first I want to find out if there's something in their way. Right. And that's an easy answer.
Right.
And if not, then there might be other things, or, they need to own this. It's not for me to own. It's their journey, right? It's all about their success. I can't do it for them.
Right. Oh, Thank you for saying that. So many network marketers want to help people. Yeah. And that means do it for them. And you can't do that. So bravo to you. There was a woman that I've known for many, many years by the name of Vondell McKenzie, who's a 7-figure earner, just does really, really well. And that's what Vondell always used to say, you got $1 million goal, but $1,000 plan. So
oh, good.
And that one always sometimes it just hit people between the eyes. So, I think what's really important for our listeners to hear, Serena, is that with as much experience and success as you have had, even you run into things like that. So it's not you, it's not our listeners, it's the people that they're dealing with. So 28 years in the industry, different products, but 28 years. What keeps you going? How do you keep yourself going?
I think it's just seeing someone with an extra $500,000 that can change their life. I mean, the money's great, but for me, it's all about giving back. I think for me at this stage of my life, I want to be able to, if someone comes to me and says, I support several missionaries, and one of them is a young gal in her early 30s in Barcelona, Spain. And one of the other streams of income that she's trying to develop is a coaching business, which helps her with her current job,
Sure.
And so I was able to write a check. So when people have needs like that, I want to be able to just give back and be able to do that. Because that's what keeps me going. That's what lights me up. And also making, if I can make a significant connection for two individuals with a heavy need, like I did that a couple of weeks ago, and that just totally lit me up. I think I got all no's all day long calling on the phone, but I made those two connections for those 4 people. That was totally worth it. It made my week.
Wow. You've got the right attitude there, is that it's not about you, it's about other people. And I think that's so important, but it sounds like you're keeping that goal in front of you all the time.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah. Really, really important. Oh, wow. That's a great story.
Thanks.
That's a goosebump kind of a story. So good for you. Good for
Thank
you. When we talked initially, we talked a lot about the importance of work ethic. And that was one of the things that made you successful. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Just in general, what your idea of work ethic is, and how it can help a network marketer.
Well, I think I learned early in my corporate career that it was okay to say if I didn't know something, but that I would go and find out and get back to the person. And that has served me well over the years. If there's something I don't know, I will be honest and just say I don't, but I'll get back with them, because I don't want to lie. I mean, that's not going to serve me well.
Right.
I'll lose clients, and that's my reputation. So being honest, I think, has been good. And then under promising and over delivering always goes over well. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially when you're dealing with so many products. I mean, I know your company has a lot of products, and most companies have literally hundreds of products. You're not a walking encyclopedia. I mean, there's just no way that you're going to know it. So I love that you just say, I don't know, but I'll find out for you. That's what people are looking for. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And that's really important in all aspects.
Right.
No matter what your company is, no matter what you do for a living. So, so you've built up a really nice residual income. I know when you and I first met and you talked about it, I was very impressed with your residual income, that check that just comes, you do the work once and it keeps coming. But how do you find, I get this, if I had $1 for every time I get asked this question, how do you find people that are leaders? How do you find people that want to build a business?
I mean, there's so many ways. I think, so pre-COVID, I went to lots and lots of networking meetings. Of course, that shifted through the whole pandemic. I did a lot of online appointments pre-pandemic, but once all the networking things went online, I had to navigate a little bit more. It was very difficult and awkward. You couldn't go in and walk around the room because you're on a screen.
Sure.
You might be able to be in a breakout room, something like that. But so for me, I've really done a lot more one-on-ones. If I see someone at a meeting that I really connect with, just that one. And Janet, that was you. When we were on that polka dot meeting and I saw your presence, I saw your introduction and just your energy during the meeting, I'm like, I want to know her. I want to meet her. And so I will I'll get their information and reach out.
Okay.
And do a connect call and see. But, someone that's coming from my background, a corporate background, business owner background, professionalism, all of those really resonate. So I'm not going to go to your local bar, but I'm going to pick and choose, right? Okay. The kind of networking events to go to that I'm going to find that kind of caliber of people. So, and I'm always open to different groups.
That's a really great tip. It's if you're going fishing for marlin You're not going to
Yes.
go fishing in your local little lake here in
Right.
Wisconsin where I live. So
Right.
you're going where the professional, where that leadership, the person that absorbs those, that has those skill sets is. You're absolutely right. Because how do you think your corporate career helped you with your network marketing businesses?
Not afraid to make cold calls. I was very well trained there. So to be able to call someone up and strike up a conversation, and that helped me at the networking events, that was very helpful. And just to not take it personally when someone says no. Yeah.
Sure. But the idea of the networking and the being able to connect. Talk a little bit more about how important the connecting is for you, and how do you connect? I mean, sometimes for me it's an instinct, but do you have anything special that you do, that you look for, that because let's face it, you're not going to relate to everybody. I know I don't.
Right. Oh, yes. So I usually will set up if they're any distance from me, I will usually set up a Zoom Connect. Maybe about 45 minutes. If I really connected with them at the event and we totally jive, because again, if I go to a networking event live, I was never one to come away with 30 cards. I was going specifically looking to make 2 to 3 significant connections with people that I really like their energy. And I think, oh, wow, I'd like to work with them. Right? Because you have to like the person that you're working with.
Right. You're
going to spend a lot of time together. And
because in corporate world, you got to work with people that you don't like. Let's face it. In this business, you work with people that you like. So good point. You
get to choose, right? You get to choose those that you work with. And so then I'll set up a connect call. And people really want to jump right into business. But I firmly believe, and I know you do too, Janet, that people do business with those they know, like, and trust. And I've got to build those 3 things in first, if that's going to make sense for them, if they're going to want to partner up. They may not want to. So my whole connection call is really personal.
Right.
I want to know where they grew up, and people love to talk about themselves. So it's super easy. That's probably, I've already asked them that question at the networking event. Like, where did you drive from today? Where are you from? Are you from the Bay Area? Because most people aren't.
Right.
And it's easy for them. They're thinking you're going to ask them A through Z about their business, but I want to know them as a person, because what I do, Serena, what Serena does doesn't define who I am as a person. My profession doesn't define me as an individual. And so I really want to understand who they are. And so that whole connect call is all about them. Who they are, where they grew up with, what their journey has been, and they get to decide where to start.
Sure. Yeah. Not when I was born in 1958. And no, I get it. Yeah. No, that makes sense. But you also said something, Serena, that I think our listeners really have to listen to and hone in on. It's so spot on that it's not with everybody. It's not cast this big net. It is, you go into these networking events with the goal of 2 to 3 people. And I agree. I think that's the best way to do it. My gosh, if you connected, if you have 30 business cards or 30 connections from a call that you've been on, a Zoom meeting, that's all you'd be doing.
Right.
Is talking to those people. So that's really great advice. 2 to 3 people. I love that. Yeah, because I practice, you've heard me, I practice the power of 3. So if I can make 3 connections in a day, holy smokes. So you're spot on there. So, so when you talk about the power of connecting, what does that mean? What does a good connection feel like to you? And what's a bad one feel like? Maybe that's the question I should be asking.
Okay, well, that's a really easy one.
Okay, well, let's hear that one. I like that.
I had a gal ask me, why did you connect with me? At the very beginning of the call, and I'm like, oh dear, this is going to be a long 30 minutes.
Right, right.
But it's someone, if I asked a question, and I try to ask open-ended questions, right? Not a yes or no question, and they answer it, and then they're silent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The awkward silence. Yeah, that's really, really tough.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with silence because I did corporate sales and direct sales for all these years, and I'm okay with silence, where it's appropriate. But if after every question, they're not really, and that just shows, that there isn't a connection there. That's very clear to me. Usually if there's a connection, we're going off and talking, like this last one I had the other day. She was a coach, and we ended up talking about, Alaska and entertainment, like almost the entire time.
Sure.
And traveling.
Sure.
And so for me, I love that because that shows me that they are very well-rounded, that they're not just totally consumed by work, that they have, and I like that. I like that they have outside interests because, and I want to know what their why is. Through that process, I discover, oh, they love traveling. Okay, maybe that's one of the hot buttons for that. Maybe that's something that would spur them on when they're having a bad day, a bad week.
Right.
So it's really trying to dig, and for me just to listen, try to listen, be a better listener for those kinds of tips.
Good.
So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that does. That's excellent. And it sounds like when you have I don't know what the word would be, a non-connector. Maybe that's the word. It's cut bait fast, isn't it? I mean, get off. Yeah. Because if you're trying to force it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
100%. 100%. So, you're persistent. Tell us about persistence and what that means to you and how important it is for you in your business.
It's very important. I think that's one of the things I've been recruited by so many real estate agents because I'll keep calling them back. They're like, your follow-up is immaculate. And I'm like, if you only knew my system was manual, but it works, right? I don't have like a fancy CRM. I've got shoe boxes and a filing cabinet with a tickler, and I just throw them in with my 12 months wherever they want me to call them. But a great example of that is I never throw out anyone's information unless they tell me. Like, don't call me again, then I will throw their card out. But I don't ever throw anyone's card out. And so recently, because of what's been going on in our economy, just with gas and inflation and everything, I started calling a bunch of people that I hadn't talked to in like 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And it was really fun, Janet, because I call up and, I have their car, my 3x5 car, and I might have written some notes and stuff. And so, of course, they don't know who I am. And I'm like, hey, Susie, it's Serena Chow. How are you? Do you have a couple minutes to chat? And she's like, yeah. Right. And I said, hey.
Who the heck is this lady?
Right. I'll say, are you still with Keller Williams or whatever in real estate? She'll say, yeah. And I said, okay. So I said, here's the deal. I called you in 2013. And so I just kind of just shut up. And she's like, oh. And I'm like, and I'm so sorry I haven't called since then, but I'm calling to connect now. And then we just started a conversation. It's been so fun. And I've gotten several appointments out of that. They've all got circles. They know people struggling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. So often everybody's, what's your follow-up system? And that's what I have always done. I had the shoebox, and now I put stuff on my calendar to remind me to call. It doesn't have to be fancy, but you do have to connect. And the best part to me about the card system, and I know it's old school, if you will, in some people's minds, is that you've got those notes on there.
Right.
I mean, that's got to impress those folks that you remembered them. So Good for you. Good for you. That's persistent since 2013. Yeah. I had a gentleman that I used to work with that always said, and I loved it. He would say, persistence beats resistance every time. I'll never forget that. And it's so true. So true. So good. So I know you're a well-rounded person. So what do you like to do for fun? When you're not working, what do you like to do for fun?
I'm in a community chorus. of about
Oh,
100 mixed voices. The Black Hawk Chorus here in the Bay Area, we're a nonprofit, and we have a foundation that gives grants to local high schools for their music programs because they're severely underfunded. So love
sure.
that once a week. Love to cook and bake. Love to travel. Love to spend time with our grandkids.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And it's great that your company provides that for you and allows you to be able to do that. That's really,
Yes.
really great. And the part about giving back is so important. So important. So if you had to give our listeners 2 or 3 pieces of advice that, like I always say, that you could write on a napkin that they should know to do and what's made you successful, what would those things be?
Never throw someone's information out unless they ask you to do it, because timing's everything. That's a huge lesson that I've learned, because I have thrown cards out and lost out.
Like, darn it. Yeah. It's like never get rid of the contacts in your phone, even though you go, who is this person? I don't remember, but okay. Right. So that's a good one. Number 1, don't throw out any cards. Okay.
Yeah. Number 2, just be consistent in your activities and plan. Like, I know, Janet, you coach this with all of your clients, is, be intentional with your schedule. Put your family things in, your church things in, and, work your business. You're in this kind of business for that reason, for that flexibility. So utilize it to its advantage.
Absolutely.
Really
absolutely. Everything goes in the calendar, and you can work your business around your life, but you got to be intentional. Okay, good.
Right.
Good. Any other words of advice you'd want to share?
Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun. My client yesterday I had lunch with, she's a rock star commercial property business owner. And she said, I've got to make it fun for all the people that I use in my team that we cross refer. And I'm like, oh, that was such a good reminder. And especially coming out of this pandemic, we've kind of lost that. You can only do so much on Zoom. So, right. So have some fun, get out there with your team, without your team, with your family, just, like I'm going to lunch today with a friend. So
good for you. Good for you. Yeah, you have to do that. And, different business, but I always just say, you guys, it's just lipstick. Come on. You don't have to get so
not going to lose a friendship over lipstick.
Yeah, come on, ease up a little bit. So are people I know you're on Facebook, you're on LinkedIn. We're in a networking group together. So you are very, very active and you practice what you preach. And I know one of your core values is helping others. So you told me that you have a special offer for our listeners. Do you want to share that?
Sure. So if you're looking for healthier, safer products for your house, or you've got folks in your lives that have higher levels with all along the physical wellness, higher levels of maybe blood pressure, cholesterol, I would love to have a 20-minute discovery call with you and see if maybe we could help you out. My company is a U.S. manufacturer, and I think people are looking for U.S. made products.
Yeah, especially in with the challenges with receiving products and that type of thing. Yeah, I agree. I think that's really, really important. But and you have an earning opportunity, but you can counsel people if there are certain things that they need from a product standpoint, even cleaning products, etc. But or heck, just to get to know you, because you're a pretty nice lady, I will say. So, well, Serena, it has been such a pleasure, and it's no surprise to me, and I don't think it's going to be any surprise to our listeners why you have been so successful. You practice the fundamentals. Most importantly, you develop the relationships, and yes, you do have fun. You have the best laugh. I will tell you, it's obvious that you love what you do. So I want to thank you on behalf of our listeners, and for our audience, take a look All of the show notes will have all the information so you can get a hold of Serena. If you are a network marketer, be sure you join our Network Marketers Den Facebook group, where we've got almost 1,000 members that share their tips and their ideas, and we are here to serve you as well. So Serena, thank you, and thank you to all of our listeners, and here's to everybody achieving all of their goals and dreams. Take care.